There are punctuated moments in life that create memories for us. And these memories are like push pins in the map of our life. And so when we reflect on them, um, they mark and provide a glimpse into what fuels and what influences us. Working hard was always something that was very important to my family. You worked hard. My mother used to always say, if you don't, if you don't work, you don't get paid. You don't eat. It seemed to be part of my DNA. You work hard and you contributed. And I didn't know until after high school how important and how in-depth that piece of um, behavior and messaging was part of me, and how it became a strong anchor for my identity as a black woman. And as you know, when I enter spaces, visibly, I'm a black woman. And many people, many black people, I should say, try to ensure that they aren't perceived as being lazy or incompetent. And often we are told that we have to work much harder than others in order for this perception not to take a hold. And we accept that reality. And so many of us will carry that burden of success for an entire race, entire people, especially if you're of a generation like me that was born in the latter years of the civil rights movement. You feel a particular obligation to carry and honor your ancestors before you and what they did to make things happen for you in order for you to survive. So it's part of the survival piece here. And with that high burden came the grind. I came to Grand Rapids. I started college. I worked. I worked 2 jobs. In fact, in my family, we would joke about it a little bit that, my father was Jamaican and that I was half Jamaican, so I only worked 2 jobs at a time versus 4, 6. I paid my dues by volunteering in the community and making sure that I continued to help open doors for black folks and LGBT people and people who have disabilities and just anybody who is marginalized. I wanted to make sure that doors were open for these individuals. And I felt a particular obligation as a black woman to make sure that what our struggles were also not other people's struggles as well. And so juggling all these things left little time to be present, and particularly be present with my mother. She had remarried after my father's death, and so there were people around, but we had a particular relationship during that time in my career. And we talked a lot by phone, so we saw each other less, but talked a lot by phone. And of all the people in the world, she was the most proud of me. Mom was the most proud of my accomplishments. Even if she didn't fully grasp all the things I was doing or had done, she was proud and encouraged me to keep working towards my goals. And she wanted the best for my siblings, my nieces, for me. And we checked on each other by phone. How are you? I'm good, Mom. I'm pretty busy, but how are you? I would give her a rundown of the many things that happened during the day or the many things that I was involved in. And I would talk to her about how I would be home for a visit, but couldn't stay long because I had work to do. That's all right, baby. Mama wants to see you anyway, just for a little while. I'll be there. Things are just so busy, but I'll be home. Mama loves you. I love you too, Mama. She understood I was working hard. Working hard was modeled for me. She modeled that. My father modeled that. My siblings modeled that, actually. She would tell other others that I was always working, and she didn't see me much, but she knew that I was busy and that I was going to school, and that she really was very proud of me. And I just always imagined her and my father doing the same thing and feeling the same burden that I felt about making sure that other people had a pathway, especially their children. But in my case, especially people who I had encountered or hadn't encountered. I felt that burden, and most of all, I wanted her to be proud of me. So time would pass, and I would visit and stay a little bit, and the family would gather around, and we'd have discussions, and we'd catch up. And I enjoyed our conversations, but always felt the angst of, I gotta get back home. I gotta get back to prepare for the work week. And the cycle would continue, holiday after holiday. In Thanksgiving 2005, my mother loved cooking big meals, and so we all gathered there, and people were coming in and out. And this Thanksgiving, my mom looked really tired, more tired than usual. And I helped her clean up, and we sat for a while catching up, and I said, Mom, how are you? Are you taking care of yourself? You seem very tired. And then she would go on to tell me that she wasn't feeling really well, and that she would be planning to go to the doctor. She was always planning on going to the doctor. And over the weeks, I would call to chat with her, but my work, of course, and other things, our conversations would get short, but we packed in a lot into those conversations. I worked long hours, again, 2 jobs, always studying and learning mode to ensure I was prepared and qualified. And I attended workshops and taught and supported students and colleagues and was prepared. And the idea in my head was no one would be able to say you are not prepared, you are not qualified, you are not a fit for this role, but they did. But I would push beyond that and go above that. And there was no separation between me working and me studying and me sleeping and eating, only to refuel to get through the next day. Making her proud and the burden of carrying a race would always be part of what fueled me. So we planned to do a getaway together. She would come to Grand Rapids. I know you probably don't think that's much of a getaway, but she would come to Grand Rapids and visit me. I had my first home. And in the spring, she would later come, and we planned to do a garden together because she loved garden. She was going to show me how to garden properly. And I would take those 2 weeks off. She promised to take her first trip on a plane with me. And I was really excited about that because we were all trying to get her on a plane. And I was especially excited because now I could afford a plane ticket for her. I remember these short, again, punctuated moments of conversations and events, and packing in a lot of conversations within a few minutes, but we had them. I gotta go, Mom. I will be home for Christmas. Take care of yourself and make sure you get to the doctor. And as always, she promised to go to the doctor. Okay, baby, remember, Mama loves you. I know, Mama. I love you. Christmas week 2005, I'm pretty excited, and I'm going to go home early on Christmas Eve, and I'm going to surprise her. And I'm going to take her shopping. She liked to sometimes just go walk around the mall on Christmas Eve. I was very excited that entire week, and all through this time period, there was a persistent voice that would say, call your mom. And it was very clear, almost as if someone is whispering in my ear, call your mom. And I often got in late from work, and I would look at the clock, and I would say, oh, gosh, it's too late. She's going to be in bed. I don't want to wake up her and my stepdad, so I'll call her later. I'll call her next day. So December 23rd was a strange evening for me, and it was another one of those punctuated moments that I still am processing to this day. I returned home from a long day, and while in the shower, the voice that had been coming to me every week, it seemed like, saying, call your mom, reminding me that, was clear as day, and it whispered in my ear, your mother's dead. I snapped out of my routine because I had gotten in the shower, I had quickly dried off and ran to the bedroom, and I look at the clock, and it says 11:45, and I was like, not gonna call her. And I like to think of myself being very pragmatic, and I'm always got an explanation for something that happens to me. Those who know me know that. And it has to be a clear explanation. And so I didn't want to fall into this trap of feeling spooked. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to be spooked. And I resolved to call her first thing in the morning. And I settled into bed. And I whispered to myself, I remember this clearly, and I said, I will call her in the morning. So early morning, Christmas Eve 2005, was awakened in the middle of the night by my sister saying we needed to get to our mom. And I learned my mom passed away at 11:45 p.m., December 23rd. I don't remember much about those moments driving back home. It was wintry. It was cold. Only thing I remember is I didn't make the calls.